Shettima justifies 15 billion naira budgeted for his official residence, says Peter Obi suffering from post-election trauma. Timmy Frank asked President Tinubu to apologize for embarrassing Nigerians at COP28. Tinubu breaks silence on Kaduna bombings. Nans calls for justice and death of 3 students across Nigeria. And Labour Party faction criticizes Peter Obi for remarks on Tinubu's administration. Details now. Vice President Kashim Shettima has responded to recent criticisms from Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 elections. Stanley Nkwocha, the spokesman for Vice President Shettima, addressed Obi's remarks defending the administration's decision to spend 15 billion naira to renovate his boss's residence in Lagos and Abuja. Obi had questioned why the government planned to spend a lot on renovating the edifices while budgeting a paltry 5 billion naira for student loans in the country. In his statement released on behalf of Vice President Shettima, Nkwocha responded to Obi's comments, denouncing what he termed as a series of misguided attacks and falsehoods directed at the administration led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Nkwocha challenged the criticisms leveled by Obi, citing the allocation of funds for the renovation of the Vice President's official residence by the Federal Capital Territory Administration. He clarified that the project was initiated and funded during the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan and was later renewed by the current FCT Minister Nyesom Wike due to its long-standing abandonment. The spokesman defended the decision to resume the project, emphasizing the administration's commitment to completing long-abandoned public projects across the nation, a stance he suggested was in contrast to Obi's past directives as governor of Anambra State. Nkwocha also disputed Obi's comparison between the allocated budget for the Vice President's residence and salaries paid to university professors, asserting that the administration prioritizes the welfare of educators and educational infrastructure despite challenging economic conditions. Meanwhile, the former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Comrade Timmy Frank, has strongly criticized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's speech at the ongoing COP28 climate change conference in Dubai. Frank labeled the speech as one of the most embarrassing speeches ever and demanded an apology to Nigerians for its content. In a statement released in Abuja, Frank condemned not only the content of the speech but also the over 1,400 strong delegation accompanying the president to the international event. He criticized the large delegation as contradictory to the government's promised expenditure reduction and an unnecessary drain on government funds. Frank estimated the cost of this extensive delegation to be over $20 million, highlighting Nigeria as a sole African country and the third globally to have such a vast contingent. Expressing disappointment, Frank highlighted the negative global attention drawn by President Tinubu's speech, describing it as inconsistent, off-topic and subject to ridicule among Nigerians worldwide. He criticized the delegation's lack of visibility and productivity at the event, contrasting it with smaller delegations from other countries that achieved more substantial outcomes. The political activist urged President Tinubu to apologize to Nigerians for the embarrassment caused by the speech and the unproductive nature of the large delegation. Frank emphasized the adverse effects of such occurrences on Nigeria's international reputation and investor confidence. All the world leaders, he says, were very visible, initiating deals on the sidelines, whereas the delegation from Nigeria was partying and shopping around Dubai and nowhere to be found. To talk about this and more issues, after the interview on the World News at 6, I have via the telephone Mr. Darlington, who is a social and political affairs commentator. Mr. Darlington, good evening and welcome to the World News at 6 right here on VOP 90.3 FM.
Yeah, Esther, how are you?
I am fine, Mr. Darlington. Thank you for actually picking at the very last minute. Mr. Darlington, Timmy Frank has criticized the expression of the president at the COP28 summit. You do know the summit basically was meant to address the situation with the climate change. Nigeria is part of the countries that are into ensuring that all the plans and models for climate change sustainability are actually adhered to. And unfortunately, Nigeria Nigeria traveled to Dubai with about 1,411 delegates. The presidency has come out to defend the number of persons that attended that particular event and said that officially a number of persons, about 500 or so, while the others are being sponsored by the European Union, World Bank and all whatnot. Several defense as to that. But the main question here is the president's speech and some reaction from those that were at the high table. We had US Secretary of State John Kerry there. We also had the president of COP28 too, and his facial expression said a lot when the president was speaking. Also, we had John Kerry himself impatiently tapping the seat he was sitting on at the time when the president was talking. Would we say that the president did not properly represent us? Also, could it be that there was no need for Nigeria to be there, like Germany and another country too were not there because they said they didn't have the money to attend that conference? What's your take specifically coming from Timmy Frank?
Esther, you cannot give what you don't have. Tinubu is forcing himself on the rest of the world. They don't want him. All these things he's doing, he's wasting his time. Mention any other world leader that came here personally. They all said either they are ministers or ambassadors. As the leader of the black race Nigeria represents, we should not be pandering to this type of irrelevant meetings and here and there. It doesn't give us respect. But Tinubu wants to go there to show people that he has support. That was why he went to 1,411 people. Just to cheer him up. You know, Tinubu used to this whole one mentality. Whenever he's coming back to Lagos, they will show plot and wait for him at the airport. And they will dance from airport to his house in Bodilon. He likes that type of irrelevant issues. I have told everybody that Tinubu is not a leader. Even the speech is not presidential. Look at how people were even frowning. The people that were clapping that place were the Nigerians he took to that place. The people, the watchmen, the Western world, they are not interested. I was asking Tinubu, what is that thing you took to that place? At least you should have gone there with something to tell the world that yes, this is the effort Nigeria is making. Practically, for the past 50 years, they have been flaring gas in River State. So villages there. If you go there, you can't stand there for 1 hour. You are destroying the ozone layer, and you go there to make speech, telling them that if they don't give you money, you will not implement it. Are you threatening them? After making that speech, you will now go back and say that he has provided 100 buses. Who built those buses? It's the same Western world, though. Are you saying that built the electric buses that you are talking about? Is the electric bus, 100 electric buses? Where will you go to in Nigeria? Who says will you serve? How many will go around? In fact, that speech, I was seriously, when I was on my program and they played it, I was too ashamed. So this is the best Nigeria can produce. And they kept to defend how many people they went there with. Even if they went there with 2,000 people, what impact have they made? That is my question. What is that thing that Tinubu took to that place that the world will say, yes, they will be talking about it all over the world by now? Nothing. Just empty speeches. You have the calamity going on in River State, in Niger Delta. You have not solved it. Even the natural gas, you don't even have the technology to extract it. You went there to go and threaten the Western world if they don't give you money. The money they gave you before, what did you do with it? Is it not to go and put it in your pocket and you are jollicating all over the place, claiming to be richer than everybody? The Western world are not interested in Tinubu. It is here that they celebrate him. Over there, he is nothing before them. He is nothing. We have told him, sit down at home. You have embarrassed us enough. Tinubu, you have embarrassed us enough. Sit down at home.
All right, Mr. Darlington, according to Timmy Frank, an ex-APC member, he actually said he was the former National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress. And one of the things he insisted on is that the president should apologize. And others are asking, is it the president's fault if he made slurred speeches? Maybe, according to Bayo Onanuga, at one time, he said that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was stressed during the campaign before the elections on February 25. And that's the reason why his speeches were uncoordinated. That was why his speeches were slurred. But now that the pressure is no longer there, the president's speech seems well coordinated. Would we say that the reason for the slur at the COP28 summit was because the president has recently been so busy, which in a way is possibly physically or mentally straining him? Could that be the reason? Or is there something, possibly health-wise, that the executive is not letting Nigerians know about the president?
If you tell me your friends, I will tell you who you are. What is that intelligent credential Tinubu has? So how can he recruit the best? Tinubu only recruits those who we can give order on what to do, not professionals. Whether he is defending him or not, it doesn't matter. The question is, who is that Tinubu? I know presidents in the Western world who write their own speeches. They will read it because they know what is happening. What experience does Tinubu have about climate change? I mean, a president who is intelligent and brilliant, he will know what to do. He will even add to that speech and know what to say. They might even make speeches example without any paper. They will make speeches and the world will be clapping. So all this depends on that word water. The first question you should ask yourself, who is that Tinubu intellectually and academically? Who is Tinubu? It is only what they write for him, they will go and read it without even thinking about it. Look at all the things he was saying. So Bayo Onanuga is wasting his time. Whether it was during campaign or after, he's the same Tinubu. He has not changed. Intellectually, he is not there. Let us not deceive ourselves. Since he has a speech problem, why is he always going out to go and speak? He knows his level of intelligence and academic record. Why is he always going out? Who is he trying to impress? Embarrassing Nigeria, see that's the best he can produce. Bayo Onanuga should hold his speech, he should hold his speech. Yeah, they are the part of the problem Tinubu is having today. They are the one that prodded him up. They are the one supported him. They are the one encouraging him. Why can't somebody tell him, Mr. President, sit down at home, let somebody who is more intellectual go there? What is wrong? He only took Nigerians who will go and clap for him. He made a mistake. He shall go with the whole Nigeria now to tell the whole world that Nigeria love him. He's only pretending. He's pretending.
All right, let's look at the recent Kaduna bombings. The president has expressed sadness over the killing of villagers in an accident bombing of Tudumbiri village in Igabi local government area of Kaduna state. When that bombing occurred, the Nigerian army quickly sent out a press statement denying their involvement in the bombing. That was the first thing they did. There was a circulation of a press statement that circulated where they vehemently denied having to do anything with that bombing. And later on, we saw another press release where they admitted what transpired. And they didn't tell us if they were going through any exercise, if they got intel that, it was Boko Haram members they were trying to flush out. No, it was a routine exercise. And they made a mistake. Unfortunately, innocent people died. We are not hearing any form of compensation. Taoreed Lagbajar is saying that an investigation is going to be carried out. The Nigerian Army's press statement already says what transpired. So what investigation will be carried out? And after the investigation is carried out, what happens to the families of the victims that died by that bomb, by the bomb dropping on them? This is not the first time. It's not the second time. It's not the third time that a lot of citizens, bear the brunt of these mistakes from the Nigerian army in the cause of fighting the terrorists. Now you have Nigerians who are being maimed, killed, macheted by the terrorists. You also have these same Nigerians who ought to be protected by the Nigerian army. You see them being the casualty and the collateral damage of the Nigerian army. So where do we place the people? How do they escape being between these two hard rocks?
The only reason why this thing has continued is because nobody has been held accountable. Esther, this is not the first, second or third time these things are happening. every time they bomb and kill innocent Nigeria, they will say it was a mistake. It was continuously, it was a mistake because nobody had been held accountable. How can the Nigerian army come out and tell us now that that area that they bombed, it was not in their radar map? They don't know about that area and all that. Even all sorts of excuses. Meanwhile, they were part of the people that set up that camp. How come they didn't know that it was IDP camp? How come? Esther, I have said it and I'm saying it again. Let us call an international observers, international investigators. Let them investigate what's going on in the north. The killing in the north has a sinister motive. Let us know who are those people that are being killed on daily basis in the north. Which tribe, which religion is having this heavy casualty? There must be people that are suffering this death in the north. Nobody should be deceived. Let us know, because the last time I checked, a full animal cannot kill his fellow full animal. It's not possible. Terrorists cannot kill their fellow terrorists. Neither will Boko Haram kill their fellow Boko Haram. So, who are the casualties in the north? All this killing, whether by accident or deliberate, who are the people suffering it? We must know. So that we now know whether the army is telling us the truth or not. You know what was going on in Kaduna when El-Rufai was the governor. In Southern Kaduna, you know what was going on there. Was that one a mistake? Was it a mistake? Please, somebody should answer me. They are defending indefensible. Every time they will, the man that dropped that bomb, doesn't he come from a village? He should have dropped the bomb in his village and let us know that it's a mistake. Yes, now, you should have gone to his village and dropped it. Let his family members be part of the casualty. That is when I will know that, yes, this is a mistake. Every time they will do whatever they want, they will not excuse it with all sorts of reasons. If it is a penal crime, all of them, in fact, the particular group or the particular security agent or whatever, all of them would have left the army by now. They would have sanctioned them. But because it has happened in the past and nobody was sanctioned, that's why tomorrow they make another mistake. Esther, is the war against terrorists, is it ended? No, they will make another mistake. With the sophisticated deployment they have bought from US, they couldn't identify who is the terrorist, who is an innocent civilian. They couldn't. Let us find out who are the people dying in the north. It's important. So that we know after they have done all this now, they'll come and tell you, yes, we are the majority. Who is killing who in the north? We must know. So that I will not take them serious, whether it's a mistake or not.
Now, apparently, Vice President Kashim Shettima has responded to the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party concerning the 15 billion naira allotted for the upgrade of the vice president's residence. And in his statement, based from his spokesperson, that is the spokesperson of Shettima, he responded to Obi's comments and he denounced what he termed a series of misguided attacks and falsehoods directed at the administration led by President Bola Tinubu. Nkwacha is challenging the criticism leveled by Peter Obi. He cited the allocation of funds for the renovation of the Vice President's official residence by the Federal Capital Territory, and he also clarified that the project was initiated and funded during the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan. So, in other words, he's saying that Obi's comparison is not needed and that literally Obi is basically suffering from post-election drama. Do you think Obi's statement as to the wasteful spending, which he referred to for the COP28 summit, he wrote a long speech concerning that, and then of course concerning the amount of money allocated for the renovation of the vice president's residence, do you think his response or reaction is something that is overheated? Don't you think any right-thinking opposition should actually comment on the wasteful spending considering the current economic realities?
In fact, Obi is really very soft on this government, even though he's doing the right thing as an opposition. I know what the APC would have done if they were in opposition and this type of shenanigans are going on. I know what they would have done. I don't need to be told. Obi is very correct and right in what he said. Because the Obi that I know who ruled Anambra, he wouldn't have tolerated this type of nonsense. Obi will not. We know his antecedents. He will not tolerate it. You are talking of a country that is down economically, and you are going about to behaving extravagantly as if you are something when you are nothing. Somebody said that our going there, the number we went there with is equal to our status. And I was asking myself, which status? You are having the highest number of poor people in the whole world. You are borrowing money all over the place. And you are talking of status. Which status? Is it the status of a borrower or the status of a poor nation? So which status are you boasting before the international community that it is equal to, it is commensurate with your status? Status of what? If for nothing. So if you are claiming that it is because of your position, your population, why would you not take China and India? Or even Russia? That will tell you the mentality of the people ruling you, Esther. They have nothing to offer. I have been saying it. These people didn't come to govern Nigeria. They came to plunder. That is why all that is going on, they are still behaving as if we have money. When they borrow money, they squander it. When they borrow money, they squander it. And they will give all sorts of reasons. They want to build a 15 billion naira house for you, and you are happy. If you are a responsible leader, you will not take that. What are they going to build in that house that will cost 15 billion? Answer me. When P2B was in Anambra, they gave him 2 SUV. Bulletproof. Obi look at the cost and say, no, I won't do this. He paid them to return the money. He used it to buy almost 30 cars. 406. 2 for himself and every other official, both commissioners. I was thinking somebody would say, no, it is not true. That was what he did in Anambra, and this is the same of it today. Answer, when are we going to have leaders who have conscience? 15 billion naira for what? I was asking myself, even if you want to protect and fortify the place, what are you fortifying? From the way Abuja is positioned, Abuja is already fortified. Abuja is at the center of Nigeria. Look at all the states surrounding Abuja. So, what other external threat are you afraid of? That you want to build such a house for a VP, so that he will not die again or what? So that he will not turn from what he is to another thing. This is a man, we know his story when he was the governor in Burundi. We know what he did, housing terrorists who were bombing churches. That man was housing them.
Abuja is no longer as safe as we think it is now.
An opinion leader.
Abuja is no longer as safe as it is now. There's a lot of kidnapping going on there. There've been several complaints as to the recent wave of kidnappings in Abuja. Mr. Darlington, I want to say thank you so much for your time. We need to quickly wrap up the news.
Please don't deceive yourself. If any terrorist is operating in Abuja, ask the government what are they doing. Who allowed them to come into Abuja?
Mr. Darlington, we need to wrap up the news. Another program is coming up as soon as possible.
So thank you so much. They are the ones that allowed them to come there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Darlington. I sincerely do appreciate it. All right. And to also, before we wrap up, the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, under the leadership of Comrade Pedro Obi, has urged the police to ensure that those responsible for the death of 3 students in separate incidents across the country are brought to justice. The students who lost their lives include Ayogu Evans, a 300-level student at Ebonyi State University, who died in an accident while being chased by police officers. Another victim, Agabaidu Obiaje Joseph, from Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, was stabbed to death by robbers. Additionally, a student from Gateway ICT Polytechnic in Ogun State was killed and 9 others were injured in a robbery. In a condolence message, NANS President Pedro Obi emphasized the need for improved security measures for students nationwide. He declared that student areas in all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory should be under a state of emergency, urging swift action from security agencies. To wrap up the world news at 6, here again are the top stories. Shetima justifies 15 billion naira budgeted for his official residence, says Peter Obi suffering from post-election trauma. Tumi Frank asks President Tinubu to apologize for embarrassing Nigerians at COP28. Tinubu breaks silence and Kaduna bombings. Nance calls for justice in death of 3 students across Nigeria. And Labour Party faction criticized Peter Obi for remarks on Tinubu's administration. That's a wrap on the World News at 6 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Wachuku. Do join us for VOP Politics on at VOP TV Live at 7 p.m. on YouTube at Voice of the People TV, that is at VOP TV Live. Good evening and thank you for staying with us.